Good morning, dear Thai, dear Sangha. Can you hear me well? Today is Sunday, November 3rd, year 2024, and we are at the Great Togetherness Meditation Hall. Today is a special day. We have later on ordination ceremony for one of our young aspirant, and the family of the gentleman is here, and many people also gathered this weekend to practice with us. And I signed up to give a talk on November 3rd, about maybe 5 months ago. And I didn't know there were ordination ceremony. So what I'm going to share with you is a little bit of my experience, and also what does the process of become an aspirant and to be ordained as a novice, monk or nun. And sometimes I use the word monastic to make it easy. So the question I ask myself, and as well everybody, is why be a monastic? And the subtitle is like to nourish bodhicitta, to nourish the mind of love. Often, if you translate directly from the Sanskrit, body means to awaken. So it's more like the mind of awakening. But in the Zen speak, sometimes when you look for something too hard, you're not going to get it. So that way, Thai often translate as the mind of love. So if you go through the direction of increasing your love, that is a good direction toward awakening. And in our tradition, we can practice both as a lay friend as well as a monastic. So it's up to you to decide whether you want to be practicing as a lay friend in your home, in your family, or you want to become a permanent resident at the monastery. There are some lay friends who are permanent resident, but they choose not to ordain too. So, and we can all practice like that, whether that's our choice to see whether we want to be ordained as a monastic. So the process is, if first you come to practice at our center, or you participate in a day of mindfulness, like today, or you come for a weekend retreat, or you come for a week. And then you practice, just like everybody. Practice mindfulness, concentration, insight. And along the way, you are mindful of your state of mind, of your body, and you find out that sometimes we have some habit energy that come up to the surface. Sometimes you might encounter some suffering a little bit, and you want to resolve them. You want to transform them. And then we practice, and with the collective energy and going through the regular schedule of practice, thanks to the collective energy of mindfulness of the whole environment, the whole Sangha. And sometimes we have some transformation. And sometimes I would call it that aha moment. Is moment of awakening. Hey, I still have good lungs. I used to have bad case of bronchitis. Sometimes it's kind of hard for me to breathe after I eat, or when too much pollution, too much pollen, too much dust, mite, or something. And to be able to have good knees, to have good legs, and to be able to breathe, is already a miracle. It's already condition for happiness. So it's an aha moment that we are still healthy. Often in our monastery, sometimes we have one of my sisters that I practice and went out for a lot of retreat, Sister Chi Ngim. She got some cancer. And then she went to therapy and she got remission for 3 years. But then after 3 years, the cancer came back. And she passed away here, but she passed away very peacefully, happily. So sometimes we know that everything is impermanent, and we need to rejoice in our capacity to be happy, to be healthy, and not take things for granted. So you practice for a little while, then after a while you feel that you have a lot of aha moment. So you want to continue to practice. Many of our lay friends write a letter and ask us, well, I want to stay longer. I want to stay 2 weeks. I want to stay 1 month. We have maybe about 10 gentlemen who asked to stay for the 3-month winter retreat. We are reviewing the process now. So they feel that they want to practice 24 hours a day, living with us. So that is the additional step that you feel that the practice of mindfulness, concentration, and insight bring you a lot of benefit. So you think that the environment is good, the co-practitioner, the member, of the Sangha help you with the practice a lot. And you can progress a lot faster. And, happiness, suffering inter-are. So they switch from time to time. In living in the Sangha, there's always some up and down. Sometimes there's some challenge, sometimes there's some happiness and so on. But you stick to that because you feel that the method of practice that you've been taught and you put into practice are very beneficial for yourself, for your health, for your joy and your happiness. And then it reflects in your relationship with your friend, your family member. The communication process is better. So that way you want to practice more. Sometimes some people live in New York City, and usually the weekend they come. There are a couple of friends, they always come on Sunday. Sometimes they come for the weekend. And I think to me, whenever you can, that's wonderful. Some people, they want to stay in the Sangha. They want to follow the Sangha. They want to live in harmony with the Sangha. So they stay longer. And they wrote the letter to be aspirant. So we review the process, and we feel that the person can be happy following the rule of the monastic, and then we get accept into the aspirancy program, and that's where they practice. And then after a period of time, when they qualify, we review them. So we say, okay, maybe it's time for you to be ordained as a monk. So the process is to me is more like having a wedding. You have to court the family of the bride, and you have to get to know, and everybody in the family has to approve. Oh, okay, that's good, And the same thing for us also, we have to know the family of the groom as well. So we have said, are you okay with that, And then we have a wedding ceremony. So, in our case, we call the monastic ceremony, the ordination ceremony. And it's a commitment, yeah. In Pamela, sometimes we have now a new Dharma door. They call a 5-year commitment. We call the ordination for 5 years for young folks. But for the older folks, say, well, it's the real commitment. Just like in a marriage, I think it's kind of very strange to have a marriage for 5 years. So after you get the request for aspirancy, then you become ordained. You ordain. Then you practice the monk precepts. We have different precepts to practice. The lay friends, sometimes we practice what we call 5 precepts. In Plumbush, we call 5 mindfulness training. And sometimes when people practice long enough, they want to deepen the practice, they aspire to receive the 14 mindfulness training of the order into being. Such a person can remain in the family, have children, have a job, everything, and they can deepen the practice. They become a leader of the local group. Then eventually they can train to be a lay Dharma teacher as well, if they wish to. In this case, if the person feels that they want to live in the community, they want to devote full time into the practice, and that is the path that they want, the monastic path, then they ask to be ordained. And then we shall have a ceremony, ordination for him or for her. And then living in the Sangha, we start to learn more or different way of explaining the Dharma. In this case, we call learning the sutra, learning the method of practice. Sometimes we call the Dharma door. And we follow the Sangha activity, whether it's an opening retreat, going out to give a weekend retreat, day mindfulness, even some outing. We practice everything in the Sangha. So the capacity to live in harmony in the Sangha is very important to join the order, because often we have a lot of diversity. Different people have different background, different aspiration, different desire, and sometimes there's some clash in the community too, some different idea how to do things, how perceiving things, and we have to have a meeting, we have to have conflict resolution and mentorship, and so we can learn how to work together and how to live together in harmony. So this is and then when you practice for a while, it's very important to maintain your joy and happiness, because after a while you feel tired. So to me, you have to continue to nourish your mind of awakening, your mind of love, your bodhicitta. And then sometimes we call beginner minds, that every day it is something new. It's not something that you get so used that become boring. So sometimes we ask ourselves, after 5 years as a monk, after 10 years a monk, I'm still happy. Do you wish to go to Bahama or something? And then after 15 years, you ask the question, are you still happy? Have you learned every day? You something. Some people after 15 years, they say, well, I have learned everything I can learn, so I'm getting bored. And then such a person is also learning from the point of view intellectual, not from the deep level of the Dharma. So this is the summary of what I will share to you earlier. So you come, you encounter the Dharma, you practice mindfulness, whether the day mindfulness, the weekend, and you see that you are able to transform your negative habit energy. The positive habit energy I don't mention, it's actually all you need is to water them, like being kindness, being compassionate, being loving, have capacity to be happy, and you experience some deep experience, and you say, well, I think this is the path I want to follow. This is what I want to practice. And you're willing to practice these 4 diligence. I will share with you later about the 4 diligence on every day, as long as possible. So I used to practice with the 6 local Sangha in Philadelphia. I become the leader. I help them to build Sangha. So I went out 6 days or 6 nights a week. Usually we meet for about 3 hours. Usually after work. In the weekend, sometimes we meet in the afternoon. And I just leave myself one day so I can, go to the grocery and do laundry, do other things. But after a while, I decided that that's not enough. I need to practice more. So I need to find a community of people who can help me with the practice on a constant basis. So that's why I decided to go to Brahmalash and ask to become ordained. And so what are we practicing that it generates energy for us? The basic thing is we practice having a mindful breath and mindful step. we use the awareness of breathing to bring body and mind back to the present moment, and constantly be alert what's happening inside of us as well around us. So the practice of right mindfulness, right concentration, right insight generate a lot of power for us to practice. And we need some reward, some motivation in order to be consistent. Sometimes you say you want to be mindful, but then when you live outside the society, work can put it very demanding. Sometimes you are about to catch up the train. If you miss the train or the airplane at the airport, and that kind of rush you, and something happening, you get into a car accident or somebody fell off the tree or something, and you have some emergency, and then you forgot to practice. So that's why sometimes if you're surrounded by friends, by co-practitioner, it helps you to generate that kind of energy on a consistent level. So that's why you good to, even if you live outside, like I used to live in Philadelphia, I create the Sangha, and I help them to practice, and they help me to practice as well. So that way it's very important to create Sangha. So after you practice for a little while, the right mindfulness, concentration, and insight, then just like anything else, you get boring after a while. I'm going to stand up a little bit. So I remember I went to university, and I ended up working in banking because I love foreign language. So I use my foreign language to help to translate and to facilitate trading with the importer-exporter. And I love it. But after about 10 years, I feel like, well, I get the plateau. It kind of gets boring. I wish I can do something more. And I stay some more, and after about 20 years, I think I have about enough. Because if you do the same thing over and over again, you need something motivation, you need some change. Luckily, by that time, I met our teacher. And I've been a truth seeker all my life. I've been searching for the truth all the time. And anything that has to do with the Dharma, the deep Dharma, I will hone to that. I look for that. But I was looking around, and nobody really have something that give me some excitement until I met our teacher. And I find that what he was sharing is so simple, very deep, and straight to your heart. So I met him in Philadelphia in 1993, and I start to practice. I read all his books I can get through. Then I went online, I asked some friends, and they said, well, if you really like to practice, there's some local Sangha. Just call them and join them, which I did. So to me, for me, it's a second win, because I start to get bored as a banker. It start to get too much into business. So to me, one of the ways to expanding the practice of mindfulness, concentration, insight is to practice increasing your love. We call the four immeasurable love. The love that have no boundary. So while practicing mindfulness, concentration, and insight, you practice developing your loving kindness. In Sanskrit, they call Maitri. And your capacity to be kind to other people, the capacity to offer love and happiness to others. Sometimes it's not enough that you have intention. Many in our family, we want to offer love to somebody, but sometimes it depends on how you're skillful, how you offer your love. Sometimes the person that you love might not want to receive that kind of love. So that way you have to be very resourceful of how you approach, how you present your love to the other person, so to be accepted. And that's a very skill that you need to develop. First of all, you have to have capacity to offer love to yourself. If you're not able to offer love to yourself, it's very hard to offer love and joy to another person. So that, to me, that's why the practice of charity starts at home. You practice being loving, you practice being happy, and then it emanated all around you. And then people around you feel the benefit for that. The same thing with compassion, karuna, deep listening, and you can add loving speech too. It's a capacity to take away the suffering, to be there for the person who suffers, and to be able to listen to the person so he and she can unload their burden, so they can feel relieved, and to be listened. Often people need to be listened, but nowadays everybody busy. Nobody has capacity to listen. We used to come to our spiritual leader, like a church or something. We confess, we do, and after a while we find out it doesn't help anymore. Then nowadays we have to go to psychotherapists. We have to go to psychologists, and we have to pay them in order for them to sit and listen with a pad to listen to all our suffering. And hopefully in the process they will help us to reduce our suffering. So to me, not only that you want to relieve the suffering of other people, you want to help other people, but you have to have a capacity for that. So when we practice mindfulness, concentration, insight, we also develop along the way different methods of practice. And practice deep listening and loving speech, we are able to remove the suffering in others. And that is something that you train a little bit every day. You train with the Sangha, you train with a group. So that's why having community is very important. That's why also being ordained also very important. But you're just constantly surrounded by compassionate people. You constantly surrounded by kind people. And then the third and the fourth is the capacity to be happy. Often, and spread our happiness. Sometimes I travel by myself to see my family, and often I feel frustrated, I feel anxiety, because I don't have my brother around me to help to support the practice. So to me, we need to generate ourselves the capacity to be happy. And with that, when we become easygoing, it's easier people to come and be in contact with you. People want to be close to you, to benefit from your energy that you have. And the fourth is inclusiveness, upeksha, and non-discrimination. And this is the process of dissolving the self, dissolving the ego, by caring and about other people. But you know you are made of the non-you element, that everything you do influences other people, as well that everything people do can influence you. To be aware of that constant communication, interaction. And this is the four, we call the four immeasurable love. You can increase it. And you can practice a little lay friend, and you can increase to some extent, but sometimes you go to work, and they have a lot of competition among co-workers to get a promotion. Sometimes the boss can be nasty with you, and that way you are not able to develop that kind of love. You try your best, but I think in the atmosphere like a monastery, when everybody try to practice, spreading the love, it's a lot easier to develop. That's why a lot of lay friends, sometimes they come, they stay for a week, and they feel there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of happiness when they practice together. And you go back to your home, and then after a month or two, you feel like you want to come back to the monastery to practice again with us, So that is the form immeasurable love I will share with you about it. And the next thing is I shared to you about the 6 parameters, crossing to the other shore of liberation. And this is the practice we do both as a person, but also as a community, as a group of people. So first you give a generosity paramita. It's a giving. So it could be a physical gift. It could be a Dharma or teaching gift. Or it could be a gift of no fear. And I think yesterday we have a visit from one of the senior monks. He's a senior monk from Plum Village in Thailand. And I remember I went on a Canadian tour with him some years ago. And I noticed that he's an avid reader. He liked to collect books. He liked to read a lot. He has been like a personal attendant of Thai for about 12 or 14 years. So he developed very strong concentration. And because he needs to give a lot of Dharma talk, he needs to present a training program for the monastic. He is a voracious reader. So he doesn't have time to go to the bookstore. Nowadays, there are not too many bookstores open. So he kind of approached me. He said, well, I heard that you read a lot of books. Can you share with me some of the books that you have? So I said, okay. I went to my personal library, and I choose 6 books. And they are more like a hardback book. They're heavy. And I don't know, because he has to fly to Toronto, he has to fly to Thailand. I could have given 15 books. I'm not sure he can carry them. And we are old-fashioned, even though they have a lot of electronic books. I still like to read the real book, And so I donate to him 6 books. So I think this might interest you, And I saw he was flipping back and forth 3 times. He was drinking tea with us, and I'm glad he accepted all of them, because I know he loves books. So to me, the gift I give to him is a physical gift, a book, but also it is a Dharma gift. It's help him to fully understand different subjects that he was studying, so he can blend in and he can give a better understanding of the Dharma talk and give it to people to be more contemporary what he was doing there. And also by him giving a good Dharma talk, he also gave a gift of non-fear to other people, because we know that the gift of understanding the Dharma can be transmitted from generation to generation. And we know we have a capacity to continue, even though we don't have biological children. And that kind of gives us the gift of non-fear, because we are already being continued. So this is one of the wonderful gifts, to be able to give the gift of non-fear, that eventually all the physical body will have to disintegrate. that we are bound to die, to pass away. But our legacy is continue. So this is a wonderful gift. And of course, the gift of practicing the precept. So I shared earlier, sometimes you practice the 5 mindfulness training, the 5 precept. You can practice the 14 mindfulness precept or the ordination. In this case, for this gentleman, he decided to practice the 10 novice precepts, which he will ordain later. And eventually, if he stays long enough, we can receive the 250 monk precept later on. And then the third one is to have patience. Patience in being diligent in practice on an everyday basis. The same right mindfulness, right concentration, right insight. And there are a specific thing about the 4 diligence when we practice. So we improve, we become like a gardener of our mind. We know how to sow the good seed, and we know how to weed out and not to water the negative seeds. So that way we can improve ourselves, we improve our mind, and we become a source of happiness for other people. So the 4 diligence, I think it's pretty simple. I can share with you for positive mental formation, just as joy and happiness, up in your mind consciousness, like happen right now. We want to maintain them. We want to keep being happy, as joyful, as long as possible. It's like a distinguished guest you bring to your saloon, to your living room. You want to keep them as long as possible. And for the positive seeds of mental formation that are laid down on your subconsciousness, you want to water, you want to bring them up. Like you want to bring joy and happiness into your life. Sometimes you're neutral. You walk in the forest, there's nobody to talk to, you are neutral, but you meet some friend, you want to bring them up. So not only that, I find a lot of time when we practice, we practice for diligence by yourself, in a cave or something. Actually, when you live together in a family, you live together in a community, if we practice watering the seeds of positive mental formation in the other person, it's 10 times more effective if you water the seed of your next kin than you water the seed of yourself. So that way, to me, having a co-practitioner help a lot. And then the negative mental formation that go up on your upper consciousness, like anger, hate, fear, anxiety, you know that it's not worth. Sometimes it's just your imagination. And so you try to invite them down back to your subconsciousness. You see, it's not worth to be angry. Maybe I misunderstand the person. Maybe it will dissolve. There's no need to get myself so hyped up by that anger, by that jealousy, by that anxiety. There's no need to be have too much anxious about it. And then, of course, the negative seeds that are laid in your subconsciousness, we leave it alone. Let the sleeping dog lie, So also, not only that, but you ask your partner, you ask your friend, please don't water the seed of anger in me. You don't want me to be angry. So not only when you get angry, you hurt yourself. That's the person you hurt first, before you even say negative word or something to other people. So that way, that practice of right diligence is very important to practice along the way of the 6 parameters. And of course, the 5th one is meditation concentration. So we have a schedule of practice that we follow every day. And during the time we practice being mindful, we develop concentration and insight. So that way, day in, day out, it's like a muscle. You flex, you flex, you flex, you rest, you flex, and it expands, it develops more. So that's why your capacity to be concentrated and have insight, which is aha moment, increase a little bit every day. So this is the summary of all the 6 parameters what I share. And crossing to the other shore, sometimes crossing to the shore of liberation, of joy and happiness. Often we think that liberation is very far, it's not unreachable. But actually, our teacher taught us that it's very possible to do. The little liberation every day add up to the big liberation. You don't have to wait time for liberation. You don't have to wait, practice after a number of years to become happy. And that's what Thầy has a sentence is, there is no way to happiness. Happiness either way. So you practice being happy at every step. You practice being happy at every breath. You practice being happy at every action you do. So that way, you can be liberated easily. And so your reflection and continuation, you could rely on your blood ancestor, your physical body, your descendant, and your legacy to continue ourselves. That's why we have a family, we have children, we have grandchildren. But also, we can continue in a different way. In this way, we practice the precepts. The precept body, when we become a monastic, we blend in the energy of the spiritual brothers and sisters to become the precept body, and you join the we call monastic delegation. We have that kind of. And also among Dharma teacher, also we have a transmission of the heart, which is the transmission of the lamp. So we become a representative of our teacher to share the Dharma. And it takes a certain process, maybe 12 to 15 years before you become a Dharma teacher. So you can find a way. We practice Buddhism, we practice alongside with science. So we can contribute to the humanity, we contribute to the world, and we organize, we change our way of life, so we become a happier, healthier society. First of all, we start with ourselves, and then we start with our community, and we start sharing with all the lay friends who are here, and then you bring back the practice to your home, and you share with other people. So I say, if we have time, I'm going to share with you why do I want to become a monastic. So hopefully, I think we have time, right? 15 minutes, okay. So I think all my life I've been a truth seeker. I want to find somebody to explain to me the meaning of life. I want to know, I want to be spiritual. But I asked around, and I didn't see anybody who really can give me a good answer. So I study, I work, just like being a contributing member of society, And I think around 1982, my brother and sister went to Europe to study before. And then I ended up being in the U.S. So I started at work. And in 1981, my parents and my sister got sponsored by my other sister to go to Switzerland. So after 7 years of separation, I finally get the U.S. citizen, I got the passport, I got the visa, and I went to visit them. So I went to visit in Switzerland, and I met my parents, and then I went to Paris to visit my sister, my elder sister. And my elder sister followed our teacher, and she introduced me to a pagoda, they call Khanan, outside of Paris. And I went to a certain bookshop. I think it was Yo Young Ai and his secretary, Yi Lang. She's like a British woman who speaks very fluent Vietnamese. So I spent about an hour at the bookshop, and I would look around, and I found one of the books. They call the Platform Sutra. And I studied Zen already, so I know the six patriarchs. Huineng is a recognized patriarch of all the five branches of Zen, of Chinese. And I looked for a lot of books, but I finally bought about 2 books. And serendipity is kind of very strange because the High Venerable, he lived in about 68, 69 Cao Tang Street. And I used to live at 33 Cao Tang Street, which is about a block and a half from where he lived. I talked to my elder sister, Judus, and she said, well, I did visit him when I was in Saigon in those days. And he translated in 1940. And the nice thing is it has a Sino-Vietnamese. So I can understand, because I studied 2 years of Chinese, but my Chinese is very rudimentary. I'm not able to read the text in Chinese. The text in Chinese is the more accurate. But this is a Sino-Vietnamese, so I can able to understand. And it's so wonderful. I read about 15 versions of the translation, and I found this is the best translation. So I kept this book with me. Remember, I asked to become ordained. I let go of my apartment, and I bring this book with me to my mom's place, and I went to Plummeridge. And after ordained Plummeridge, I feel secure enough. I went to my mother's place. I brought the book back to Upper Hamlet, and I leave it there. Then I moved to my first monastery in Vermont. I bring this book with me. Then I moved from Vermont down to here. I brought this book with me. So it's a light book. And I have my own version of inspiration, because it is a very wonderful book. And Thay often mentioned about when he was young, he saw a picture of the Buddha, and he got inspired that he wanted to become ordained. And I have my own version too. And this is the picture of the 6 patriarchs. And I was lucky because in 1987, even before I met Thay, I went on a tourist tour to China. And they took me to the Nam Hoa Tử, Nang Hoa Chữ, in Thieu Châu. And I saw the mummified body of the 6 patriarchs. And it's so wonderful. I still have a picture here. It's so alive. And to me, I feel like I interact sometimes with the 6 patriarchs. So I have a deep aha moment with that. And of course, I read this book for about 2 or 3 years, and it's so wonderful, all the things inside of the Platform Sutra. And he recognized by a lot of Zen tradition to study him. So that was before Thay got the chance to explain to me about the 6 patriarchs. And in 1999, I went with Thay too, to the same Nam Hoa Tử, and he explained to me about to the 6 patriarchs. So I feel like I have an affinity to the Dharma somehow. This is for me some kind of aha moment type of thing. And the same thing, I saw this is in the same book, the picture of the Buddha. And to me, I have a lot of gratitude for the High Venerable Thuyet Minh Truc to translate this book, because it helped me to understand the six patriarchs a lot. I went to the original monastery of the six patriarchs, and I bought a few books, some in Chinese, some in English, but I found that the translation is not as good as this translation. Because sometimes it takes somebody who practiced well to make a good translation. And for example, this is one of the sentences in there. Thẩm thâm diệu pháp, Bủ đàn kinh, giống Phật thừa gieo đất hữu tình, bát nhã mưa chan mầm giấc nở, bồ đề bông trái tự nhiên sinh. And the sentence is so wonderful. When you hear them, you feel like it become alive, you know. And there are like hundreds of lines in that. I've been studying for 2 or 3 years like that, you know. So the second thing is I hang around the bookstore a lot, you know, because I'm always in search of the truth. And someday I came in contact with this book they call Sun Jian by Sally Rigging. When I was young, I heard about the story, the Monkey King. They make into a Kung Fu movie a lot. And I thought, well, it's a hogwash, you know. There's some kind of a man who looked like a pig, some kind of, I don't know, whatever that thing is, a monkey who has some superpower or something, and is supposed to protect some kind of anxious monk who always need protection or something, somebody, and it was like a slapstick or something. But I thought that there must be some truth behind that. Then when I discovered this book, I was so surprised. I say, well, first of all, this lady, she's a wife and ambassador in Afghanistan. She studied in Asian study, and she was erudite, so we mean like a scholar, to study different things. She found a copy of the translation of Journey to the West, the real journal. Master Sun Jian of Wenzhang, he came to India between 629 and 643, about 17 years. He almost lost his life many times because he wanted to understand the meaning of the sutra. He felt that the translation of the book that he had in China was not adequate. He wanted to go directly to India to learn from the great master of Buddhist master in India. So when he came back to China in Xi'an, he wanted to have a translated team so they can translate the sutra. But the emperor said that, I want something from you first before I give you the team of translator. You have to tell me about your trip, your whole trip. You have to write a journal for me so I can keep for my own purpose and my general in the palace. So he wrote the book, Journey to the West. And that's the real book. And we kept secret in the palace vault for a few hundred years. They use it for their own diplomacy, you know, between China and Khotan and all the rest of the countries surrounding China. And after the feud dynasty, they changed the regime, you know, so it became declassified. So the Journey to the West become open to the public to read. And a few scholars, because in those days you have to read Chinese very well to understand it. And there was one scholar, he read and he said, oh, that's kind of nice. Let me create a novel Monkey King. And that's what the thing you read popular. But there is a real thing. So this woman, she got a copy of Samuel Beal, translation in English. I got 2 copies myself later on after I read that. And she reproduced the trip. She got a few cars, she go on, and it's very good for historical and archaeological finding for other people. And that was nice. But little they know is it actually when I got a copy of Thầy teaching on the consciousness school only, in his preface, he said, well, thanks to the High Venerable Sun Jian, he came to India, I can learn, and I can teach you now the Buddhist psychology, which is Yu Biểu học. So, in a sense, I got introduced to this teaching of Thầy before I met Thầy. So before I knew of the teaching of Nalanda University, and in 2018 I went to Nalanda University finally. But by then I already studied all the teaching of Thầy already. So he got the team to write a journal to the Ming Emperor, and I think actually it's the Tang Emperor. The Ming came later. And then Thầy taught the teaching of Buddhist psychology. And when I got a hold of this book, and I would say, wow, this is the method of teaching. I want to practice it, but I don't have enough time because I was working full-time in banking. I need to quit my job, and I need to go to Brahma to practice, because now I know the practice. Nowadays, this book is called Understand Our Mind. It's a paperback in our bookstore. And so this is the deep teaching of Buddhist psychology that help you to know your 8th-level consciousness and to transform them using the same tool as a 4 right diligence that I mentioned to you. So to me, it's wonderful for me to be able to come to the Dharma and to be able to understand it and to be able to have a good teacher and to have good co-practitioner and to be able to practice. And I feel in each of us, we always want to know the truth. We want to practice. And we want to be liberated. But sometimes there's always some distraction. Some other thing you have to do in your life. Some obligation, I don't know, sometimes you have family, you have other things. You have a job, you have to pay the rent, you do all kind of things. And you never get around to that. So actually, if we have a few young friends here to come in contact with the Dharma early, I wish I can come to the Dharma early in my life, but I didn't meet such a teacher. So I have to keep on searching until I met our teacher in 1993. And to me, when I encountered the teaching, and I followed Thầy, I practiced, for 7 years. I decided, and with this knowledge of this book, I decided, well, it's time for me. I need to let go of everything, and I need to go to Brahma lecture, ask to be ordained. So if you ask any monastic, what's your reason why you become a monk and nun, everybody have different answer, because we all have different background. But at least I can share with you about my background, why I decided. Because I have about maybe 12, 14 aha moments with our teacher too, and that make me decide that I need to change profession and I need to become a monk. So I promise to end the Dharma talk within an hour. Thank you for your listening. I hope my sharing give you some inspiration. First of all, in our tradition, we can practice as a lay friend. You don't need to be ordained. But should you really, really want to ordain, then come and see us and talk to us, practice. And we can interview you, and we can ask you to stay longer. And if all the conditions are proper, then you become ordained. So hopefully, we wish everybody good luck, especially the young men. So we will have a ceremony later on. Thank you very much.
Dear community, first of all, just want to say thanks to